It was precisely 11:45 p.m. when I found myself standing in my grandfather's study, a room steeped in the weight of antiquity. The mahogany shelves held a collection of weathered books, their spines whispering tales of forgotten eras. My reason for being there was a simple one: to retrieve an old family heirloom with sentimental value. The room was dimly lit by a single, flickering lamp, casting eerie shadows on the ancient wallpaper. As I approached the imposing wooden desk, my eyes fixated on the ornate clock that had been a fixture in my grandfather's study for as long as I could remember. Strangely, the pendulum swung in reverse, defying the natural progression of time. With each backward tick, the room seemed to ripple, and I felt an inexplicable sense of dread gnawing at my consciousness. The air grew heavy as I watched the hands of the clock move counterclockwise, defying the laws of nature. As the ticking persisted, the room transformed. Family photographs on the walls depicted moments long gone, but in this surreal reversal, they rewound like a macabre film. I witnessed my own life unravel before me, a chilling tableau of mistakes, regrets, and heartaches. The clock's eerie power reached its zenith when it targeted pivotal moments in my past. The first tick transported me to the day I lost a loved one, the sorrow and helplessness palpable even in reverse. The second tick undid the joyous celebration of a long-awaited success, leaving me in the cruel grip of disappointment. Every tick intensified the horror of this temporal unraveling. The room echoed with distorted sounds of laughter, anguish, and whispered conversations. I desperately tried to comprehend the inexplicable phenomenon, but reason eluded me. I became a prisoner of this nightmarish past, unable to escape the relentless march of the backward clock. The hands spun with a malevolent intent, plunging me into moments I wished to forget. The air became thick with a suffocating nostalgia, the weight of my past bearing down on me. In this twisted chronicle, I realized the clock held dominion over me, dictating the trajectory of my life in reverse. I felt a profound sense of powerlessness as the haunting specter of my past unfolded before my eyes. As the clock continued its perverse dance, I questioned the very fabric of reality. Was this a cruel manifestation of my own subconscious, or had I stumbled upon a dark force beyond human comprehension? The study, once a sanctuary of memories, had transformed into a chamber of temporal malevolence. In the oppressive silence that followed, I stood alone in the study, haunted by the echoes of my reversed past. The clock's pendulum hung still, and the room returned to its static state. The once flickering lamp now bathed the study in an eerie calm. Yet, the experience left an indelible mark on my psyche. The backward ticking of the clock had unraveled the threads of my existence, laying bare the fragility of time and the haunting inevitability of our past decisions. With a heavy heart, I left the study, carrying the weight of an altered reality. The grandfather clock, now a silent sentinel, stood as a testament to the enigma I had witnessed, a chilling reminder that the past, once set in motion, may not be as immutable as we believe. And so, I departed the study, forever changed by the night when the clock ticked backward, rewriting the chapters of my life in a haunting reverse crescendo. It was a somber evening, the hands of the clock hovering over 8:30 p.m. when I found myself in the dimly lit confines of my study. The primary reason for my presence in this space was a recent acquisition, an antique typewriter with an aura of nostalgia that seemed to whisper tales of a bygone era. The room bore the scent of old paper, and the creaking floorboards resonated with the weight of time. I settled into the worn leather chair before the typewriter, the soft glow of the desk lamp casting an amber hue over its aged keys. I intended to indulge in the simple pleasure of crafting a letter, immersing myself in the tactile symphony of metal striking paper. As my fingers grazed the keys, the typewriter took on a life of its own. Letters materialized on the paper without my guidance, forming words that painted a macabre narrative. The metallic clatter echoed through the room as the typewriter revealed a gruesome tale, a tale that mirrored the unsolved crimes haunting my neighborhood. The narrative unfolded in chilling detail, recounting a series of murders that had sent shivers through the community. The typewriter seemed possessed, its keys moving with an otherworldly precision, as if transcribing the dark secrets of a malevolent force. I sat in horrified fascination as the words etched themselves onto the paper. The story told of a shadowy figure prowling the streets at night, preying on unsuspecting victims. The details were eerily accurate, aligning with the unsolved mysteries that had gripped my neighborhood in fear. The typewriter spared no grisly detail, describing crime scenes with a clinical precision that sent shivers down my spine. It was as though the machine had become a conduit for the very essence of malevolence, weaving a tapestry of horror that transcended the boundaries of fiction. In a state of shock, I questioned the authenticity of the tale unfolding before me. Was this a sinister manifestation of my own subconscious, or had I stumbled upon an ancient artifact with the power to unveil the hidden truths of the world? As the typewriter continued its spectral dance, the line between reality and nightmare blurred. The unsolved crimes in my neighborhood seemed to converge with the narrative unfolding on the page, creating a web of horror that ensnared my senses. The typewriter's revelations reached their climax when it detailed a murder that had not yet occurred. The specificity of the details sent a chill through my spine, and a sense of urgency gripped me. The narrative had become a forewarning, a dark prophecy that demanded attention. In a haze of disbelief, I grappled with the decision to share this unearthly revelation with the authorities. The typewriter, now silent, stood as a haunting witness to the unsolved crimes that mirrored its eerie tale. As I pondered the implications of the typewriter's revelations, I couldn't escape the unnerving truth: the thin veil separating the mundane from the macabre had been torn asunder. The antique typewriter, a relic of the past, had become a conduit for the spectral echoes of a gruesome tale, leaving me to navigate the blurred boundaries of reality and the supernatural. In the quiet of the study, I contemplated the implications of the typewriter's revelations. The unsolved crimes in my neighborhood loomed large, and the antique machine stood as a silent testament to the inexplicable forces that lurked in the shadows, transcending the boundaries of time and terror. The clock in the hallway struck 9, signaling the commencement of our nightly ritual, the childhood game of hide and seek. My parents, unaware of the sinister turn this innocent pastime would soon take, bid me and my siblings good night before retreating to their own sanctuary. I found myself in the dimly lit corridors of our ancestral home, the air thick with the weight of bygone years. The game had commenced with the casual enthusiasm that usually accompany our nighttime escapades. Little did I know that the familiar walls of my childhood would become the stage for a chilling encounter with an otherworldly entity. As the seeker, I closed my eyes and counted to 50, the muffled sounds of my siblings scurrying to find their hiding spots echoing in the eerie silence. The game had begun, and the usual thrill of anticipation filled the air. I navigated the shadowy recesses of the house, calling out the familiar refrain, "Ready or not, here I come." However, the response I received was far from ordinary. A haunting whisper slithered through the air, carrying with it a chilling message that sent shivers down my spine. "You cannot hide from me, child. I see beyond the realms of the living." The words hung in the air, an ethereal presence weaving through the corridors. Fear gripped my heart as I realized that the seeker was no ordinary participant in our childhood game. It was an otherworldly entity, a spectral force drawn to the innocence of our nightly ritual. The house, once a haven of warmth, transformed into a labyrinth of dread. The walls seemed to close in, and the air grew heavy with an ominous energy. I stumbled through the darkness, my senses heightened, as I became acutely aware of an unseen gaze fixated on my every move. The entity, though invisible to my eyes, manifested its presence through unsettling whispers that echoed from the shadows. It spoke of ancient rites and forgotten pacts, weaving a narrative of a soul-seeking force that transcended the boundaries of the mortal realm. With each passing moment, the game took on a sinister dimension. The entity's whispers intensified, revealing glimpses of a malevolent intent that reached beyond the confines of our innocent play. I became a pawn in a cosmic game, a target of a force hungry for the essence of my being. The house itself seemed to respond to the supernatural intrusion. Floorboards creaked under the weight of an unseen presence, and the air pulsed with an otherworldly energy. The boundaries between the living and the spectral blurred, and I found myself ensnared in a nightmarish tableau. As I desperately sought refuge, the entity's whispers became more insistent, a spectral chant that echoed through the corridors. It spoke of a timeless hunger, an insatiable craving for souls that transcended the mortal coil. The once innocent game had become a harrowing encounter with the unknown. In the cold grip of fear, I raced through the house, my breath catching in my throat. The entity's whispers pursued me, a relentless force that seemed to anticipate my every move. It reveled in the terror it instilled, a malevolent presence reveling in the vulnerability of mortal souls. As the game reached its climax, I stumbled upon a hidden room, a sanctuary concealed from the prying eyes of the entity. The door slammed shut behind me, and an eerie silence descended. The whispers of the otherworldly seeker faded, leaving me in solitude. The childhood game of hide and seek had taken a sinister turn, revealing the existence of a spectral entity with a hunger for the essence of the living. In the hushed aftermath, I contemplated the fragile boundary between the innocence of childhood and the lurking horrors that could be unleashed when the unseen forces of the beyond infiltrate our mundane games. The echoes of that haunted night lingered, a chilling reminder that some games are not meant for the living alone.